Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day. Wherever you are, whenever you are seeing this, I hope you are good. So guys, today we're going to be doing a video about some journal prompts that are going to really be making you think and hopefully changing the way that you think moving forward. I know a lot of you guys like to journal, and even if you aren't familiar with journaling or even the biggest fan of journaling, I love journal prompts. I think that they're one of the most diverse spiritual tools that we have, or just life tools in general, because you can use a journal prompt as a meditation prompt. You can use a journal prompt literally for journaling. You can use it for reflection. You can use it to challenge yourself to think about these things every single day. There's so many different ways that you can utilize journal prompts. And I've been really into asking the right questions lately. And I feel like that's a big gap that we have when we're trying to develop a new mindset or just tap into some different energies. We need to make sure we're asking ourselves the right questions. So I have a list of some journal prompts that we're going to get into, and these are definitely going to be changing your mindset. If you want to do a journal prompt every day or a journal prompt every week and just focus on the different energies as you're moving forward, that's going to be really, really good. All of the content, if not most of the content that we're going to be focusing on in the last 4 months of this year is going to be about how to make the last, quarter of the year the best quarter. It's going to be about how to really, really lock in, how to tap in with yourself on a deeper level, and how to just, make use of all of the things that we've been learning, seeing, experiencing, starting, ending, and going through since we started 2024. This year has been a doozy. This decade has been a doozy. So asking the right questions is going to be something that allows you to just look a little bit deeper and know where to look. So let's go ahead and get into the journal prompts. As always, if you guys want to follow me, stay up to date, listen to the podcast, book a session with me, check down below in the description box to see all of the links to Instagram, the Fated Council Instagram, where you can keep up with the spiritual work. There's posts on there every day, so get into it. And guys, we're going to be starting a new book in the book club on September 9th. On September 9th, we're going to be starting a new book in the book club. I believe that is next Monday. So if you want to read in the book club, if you're a fan of the book club, then get into it. We're going to be reading You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. So if you guys are interested, check into the book club. You guys can follow Fated Council on Instagram to join the book club. It's free. All you have to do is keep up with the reading assignments and join us twice a month on live. We're going to be doing live discussions every 2 reading assignments. So every 2 weeks, we're going to be meeting on live to discuss what we've been getting into. So yes, as you guys know, you can still book sessions with me. You can still get your solo tarot course. You can still get a little bit of everything, mentorships and all that. Content packages, get into it. Get into the website, all right? Now, let's go ahead and get into these journal prompts. Let me know how you feel about these journal prompts when you add them into your routine. I would love to hear from you guys. But yes, let's go ahead and get right into it. You guys know I have the list, so let's get into it. So the first journal prompt is, are you proud with how you handled the last conflict you were involved in? Why or why not? Are you proud with how you handled the last conflict you were involved in? Why or why not? The reason why this is such an important question to ask, and the reason it'll change your mindset, is because there's a lot for us to unpack in how we handle conflict. So if you can look at the last conflict that you were in and you could say, and maybe the last conflict you were involved in was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, who knows? But whenever the last conflict was, if you could look at that and say, I wish I would have spoke up differently. I wish I would have brought it up 6 months, before I actually did bring it up. I wish I would have maybe thought about what I wanted to say before I said it. I wish I would have, maybe held a little bit back. Maybe I was too honest or too truthful, or maybe I delivered my truth in a way that was too harsh. Whatever you think, whatever you feel in conflict, there's something underneath that. If your truth is too harsh, then there could be a chance that people always delivered very harsh truths to you. So you have to get used to, people being, mean, or you have to get used to like the real truth or the honest, hard truth. And then maybe that just makes you, just give other people that same delivery. We have to think about how we feel in conflict and how we process those things. There's so much for us in that. If you aren't able to speak your truth, if you have issues speaking your truth in a conversation, if you're able to go off track because of what somebody says, if they're able to kind of make you go off track or make you kind of give up on what you were trying to say because they're getting argumentative, all of those little nuances and conflicts show us so much about ourselves. It shows us what we stand for. It shows us what we tolerate and what we don't tolerate. It shows us, how we feel the most heard. And it also shows us where we kind of set ourselves up to step into those same kind of issues again. So if you aren't pleased with the last conflict that you were in and how you handled it. There's a chance that, maybe you've handled a conflict like this in the past. There's a chance that this is a hard lesson that you're working to learn. So the point of these journal prompts is to reveal things in us that we need to get to the bottom of. And so we can really, really think deeply about what we're doing and if we're learning and if we're growing and if we are learning and growing, so we can acknowledge those things and make sure we do it more. If you're very, very proud with the last conflict that you handled, but you're nervous about handling conflict that's coming up for you right now, that could be a moment for you to reflect and say, you know what? I actually am doing pretty good with conflict, because the last time I was in a, confrontational situation, I was able to handle it in a way that I felt heard. I felt like I was able to hear the other person. I felt like we were able to reach a resolution. I felt like we were able to, get some justice and have some good balanced judgment in the situation. So sometimes it can be good. It's always good to reflect on when we do things right. So let this be an opportunity for you to reflect on how you've correctly handled conflict and also where you want to make some changes. So are you proud with how you handled the last conflict that you were involved in? Why or why not? The second journal prompt is, what has your intuition been telling you that you have been ignoring? What has your intuition been telling you that you have been ignoring? Now, this is an important question because that's going to let you know what you don't want to deal with. Whether your intuition is telling you to leave a person alone, whether your intuition is telling you to go back to school, whatever your intuition is telling you that you're trying to ignore or distract yourself from, or you're telling yourself, oh, that's not my intuition, when you know it is in your soul. We can lie to a lot of people, but you can't lie to yourself. We cannot lie to ourselves, even when we're in a bad situation and we're trying to tell ourselves, this is okay, this is fine. Your spirit will tell you that it's not fine. Your emotions, how you feel, that pit in your stomach when you're around that person, that will let you know that you're not fine. So even if you think you're lying to yourself, your body is something that will never fool you. Your spirit is something that will never fool you. Your discernment is something that will never fool you. Your intuition as well. So if you have been denying your intuition, then there's a reason behind that. Maybe you're not ready to face what your intuition is telling you, or your intuition is going to make you have to step up to the plate. Maybe take some risks, maybe do some things that you really do not want to do right now. If you don't want to do these things, then why? Again, this is about getting deeper into what we've been working on, what we've been facing, and what God has been showing us, what life has been showing us. So it's really, really good to ask yourself, if my intuition has been screaming something to me or telling me to go to therapy, telling me to have the conversation, telling me to start the YouTube, why haven't I done it? And what is in that fear? What is in that hesitation? What is in me being not so sure about what God is telling me? That is always a great place to figure out where you need to work, what you need to step into, what isn't clicking for you spiritually and mentally. And there's nothing wrong, with things not clicking for us, because answering these journal prompts will show you a lot that you need to work on. But knowing what you need to work on is a blessing. It's great to know what you're afraid of. It's great to know what you're running from, because it's not like if you don't answer the journal prompts, these issues are going to just disappear eventually. These things are things that we're battling every day. It makes you afraid every day. It makes you doubt yourself every day. It makes us insecure every single day. It quite literally does. We always feel out of control. We always will feel like we don't have what it takes if we are running from certain things in other areas of our life. So being able to face it, being able to recognize, what am I not able to look at? What am I not able to, kind of sit across from and recognize and peel back those layers? And if I'm not able to, then why? Because the reality is, your intuition is a connection between you and God. You don't have to talk about your intuitive gifts with anybody. You don't have to tell anybody, we all this what the Lord told me. You don't have to tell that to anybody or explain it to anybody or any of that. You just have to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I've been hearing people say a lot, you have to know who you are and whose you are. And I've always heard people say that, but I think your intuition is the same. You know who you are. If you're destined for certain things, or if you're on a certain path, your intuition is going to always be telling you what you need to do, how you need to move. So it's really, really good to be able to connect with that energy. And if there are certain things that you're hesitant about or that you're afraid about, then why is that? When 9 times out of 10, your intuition has already given you the confirmation. So what is your intuition telling you that you have been ignoring? There's going to be a lot to unpack with that question. The next one, what do you have to let go of that you've been holding on to, and why are you holding on? I feel like this is kind of similar to the last one, a little bit different. What do you have to let go of that you've been holding on to, and why are you holding on? I definitely feel in the last couple of months, we already know who isn't for us, what isn't for us, what we need to give up. We've seen it. You probably have gotten confirmation if you've been getting readings or if you've been watching pick-a cards and stuff like that. So by now, we're very aware of what isn't serving us. So what aren't you letting go of, and why? And it might be that you finally, you've been, getting told to give up your lazy lifestyle. It could be that you've been told to, maybe stop eating so much sugar or stop drinking. It could be that, you've been told to give up speaking negatively to yourself and be kind to yourself. You know, there's something that we are being told to let go of right now, but we haven't done it yet. So what are you still holding on to? And if you've been getting told to let go of something and you finally let it go, talk about how you feel about that experience. Talk about the process that you went through, you know, maybe trying to hold on to something for a little bit, realizing that you had to let go, finally releasing it. Talk about how you felt in those moments, because knowing how to let go, knowing the art of letting go, knowing the dance of letting go is so important in your spiritual journey. So important, because something that we're going to be constantly pushed to do is let stuff go. You're constantly being shown what isn't for you. You constantly are being shown how you're outgrowing things and you're growing in different directions from things and from people. So definitely it is really, really good to ask yourself, what do you need to let go of that you're holding on to? And why are you holding on? Because there's a chance that we know that this isn't serving us and we need to let it go. Again, these are things that you could turn into meditation prompts. You can use these for journaling or reflection. You can take a day of your week, you know, and ask yourself these questions and look for signs throughout the day. You can use these questions however you want to, but even if you want to have out loud conversations with yourself, but tap in with you and be honest and realistic about what you know isn't serving you. You know, these aren't things, like I said, you don't have to share this with anybody. This is an opportunity for you to get connected with you and be very, very real about what you have been battling with. So yes, what do you have to let go of that you've been holding on to? And why are you holding on to it? The next question is, do you have the love you want in your life? If yes, how do you maintain it? And if not, how will you get it? Do you have the love that you want in your life? I think this is such an important question, because a lot of times we have love in our life. We have friendship, we have community, but do you have the love that you want? Does your partner give you the love that you want? You know, do they give you the love that you want? And if not, how are you going to get the love that you want? And if you are getting the love that you want, how are you maintaining it? You know, if you are getting the support that you want, the freedom that you want in love, the compassion that you want, the friendship that you want, how are you maintaining it? Because I think two things are happening. One, we're recognizing where there's a lack in love in our life. And two, we have a lot of great love in our life, but we still feel like we're lacking because we haven't taken the time to appreciate the love and really focus on it and really put it on a pedestal and really, you know, make sure that we're maintaining it and that we're pouring back into that love and that we're nurturing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really good to just ask yourself every now and then, do I have the love that I want in my life? Do I have the friendship that I want in my life? Do I have the work relationships that I want? Are the things in my life giving me what I need in love? Are they or are they not? And if they aren't, what am I going to do to make sure I get that? Does that mean having conversations with people? Are you ready to have conversations with people if that's what that means? Does it mean cutting people off? Are you ready to do that? Do you have issues letting go? Does it mean maybe addressing something from last year that you should have been addressed, but you haven't addressed it? So now you know to not hold on to things. Now you know how to navigate grudges and navigate when you can't see eye to eye with somebody. You know, you guys know that I'm always saying that love is the greatest vehicle for change. And it is. You know, love really allows us to change and evolve, whether we're getting it or not. The lack of love will do so much to us, and so will the fulfillment of love in our lives. So it's very important to ask yourself, do I have the love that I truly desire? Even this would be a good exercise for you to just write out the kind of love that you want in friendship and family and, you know, your work, the love that you have for yourself, between you and your children, you know, whatever love you have available to you in your life. Is it giving you what you need? Is it fulfilling you 110%? Are there things that you could be doing to pour more into that love? Or are you just feeling like people aren't giving you what you need? You know, have you told them that? Have you made movements in your life to support you not getting what you need? Or are you unfulfilled and you're acting like everything is okay? Get into it, okay? Do you have the love that you want in your life? And if you do, how are you going to maintain it? And if not, how are you going to step into it? The next question is a bit of a drag, so you're going to drag yourself with this one, okay? Do your everyday actions reflect the goals that you want to meet? Do your everyday actions reflect the goals that you want to meet? I think asking yourself this question literally every single day, this is something you can ask yourself at the end of every day. Did everything I do today align with who I know I want to be and where I know I want to go? Because I think it's really important to hold ourselves accountable. And if we aren't able to look at ourselves, if we are just able to figure out how my job is doing this, my partner's doing this, the kids are being like this, my family's not helping me, my friends can't understand me, this is this, the world is this. If we're never able to say, well, what am I doing every day to where I hate everything in my life? What am I doing every day? Have I tried to start all over from nothing? You know, because that's an option. People start all over from nothing all the time. So if you hate everything in your life, then what are you willing to do to make sure you're getting it? What are you willing to do to make sure you're flipping things around and make sure you get the 180 change, okay? And guys, every time I see people say they make a 360 change, I always cringe because I'm like, you're going right back where you started. I'm one of those kids. I'm a grammar police and I'm also like a degree police and a math police. But I think that making 180 change, the key to making 180 change is always being in control of how you feel and what you do and what you think. And the biggest, the most common example that I can think of this is when people have addictions, drug addictions or any kind of addictions, and people have years and years and years and years and years of sobriety. And you know what people always say? You take it a day at a time. I think that's the way you achieve anything great that you want to last you forever. A day at a time, 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 an hour at a time, a minute at a time. Like, make sure you're doing something every day to help you meet your goals, and then every hour. Make sure that you have one thought every minute that is in alignment with your goals. Make sure that you are being so dedicated to your goals that you step into it. Because that's literally what happens. You become who you need to meet your goals, and then everything aligns. So many people, they were able to step into their blessings as soon as they woke up, as soon as they said, oh, let me change my schedule. Oh, let me do this. Oh, let me finally start saying this or networking with this person. When you finally do the things that you're supposed to do to kind of show the world and show God that you're ready, the floodgates open. So there's a lot of times that we've been holding ourselves back because of a lack of energy, because of a lack of motivation or inspiration. But realistically, your vision should be all the motivation you need. You should be able to see yourself in what you want. You should be able to know that it's on the way, and you should be able to know that it is yours, that nobody else can get what God has for you. Nobody else can get that. It's not, if you don't go get it, it's just going to be sitting on the shelf forever. It's not something where you can go pick it up at the store, put it down and walk out, and somebody's going to go and be like, ooh, I like this future. Let me pick this up. That's not how that is. If you don't go get your future, it's just going to be on the shelf forever until you die and come back and go back and get it. Seriously, like, that's why I think, that's really why I think we come back. I don't necessarily know if I think that it's reincarnation. I just think that it's the way of life. If we know that energy never is destroyed, I don't even know why reincarnation even needs to be a term. If we know that energy is never destroyed, I think that we're always going to be coming back until we do what we're supposed to do here. We're always going to be coming back. So yeah, I think it's reincarnation, but then it's like, you don't even need to say reincarnation. Doesn't even need to be a word, because it's energy. It's the energy. It's the truth and the fact of energy. And if we are energy, if everything is energy, then everything is going to be here forever, just in a different form, just in a different way. So I definitely think that if we don't go get our future, it's going to just be sitting there waiting on us. And the longer that we let it sit there and collect dust, the harder it's going to be for us to, pick it up, dust it off, see it, think it's valuable, and really go after it, because the longer you wait to fulfill your purpose, the more you start to think that what you're sitting in is what you're supposed to be having, like the more content you become with what you're sitting in. And that's a very dangerous place to be when you feel like there's supposed to be more for you. If you feel like you're destined for more, you have to go get it. And you have to make sure that you're willing to do what you need to do on a day-to-day basis to keep fighting for that. So yes, do your everyday actions reflect your goals? Do your everyday actions reflect your goals? And if they don't, what are you going to do about it? And if they do, what are you doing? Like, I want you guys to ask yourself more questions with these questions. I feel like these questions aren't something that's going to be answered in one sentence or one little paragraph. Continue to dig deeper in these things. Continue to look a little bit deeper into what these answers bring to you. But make sure you're tapping in with yourself. This is going to be a great way to start thinking differently and seeing every day as a chance to get closer to your goals. 4 more journal prompts, guys. The next one is, are you proud of how you've been using your time or energy? Why or why not? This and the last one kind of go hand in hand. Are you proud of how you've been using your time and energy? Why or why not? If you looked at your goals and then someone showed you like the schedule of someone like you, like someone that's been doing exactly what you're doing, would you look at that and say, oh, this person's on the right track? Or would you say, dang, they look like they haven't touched their goals in weeks or in months? Like, what is this person doing? Do they even still want this, How would you feel if you were able to look at what you were doing up against your goals? Would you feel pride? You know, when I wrote that question, pride is what came to me. Do you feel pride in what you've been doing? Do you feel pride in the effort that you've been putting in to meet your goals? Do you? Are you proud of where you spend your time and energy? Or do you feel bad that you keep letting these people use you, that you keep letting these people talk to you all crazy, that you keep, overworking yourself on a job, even though you have new opportunities, but you're scared to, step into something different? Are you happy? Are you happy with how you've been spending your time and your energy? This is going to be a really strong point of reflection for you to make sure you're making the right investments. We know that the only investment is not money, honey. Of course, we know that by now. You're investing your laughter, your sadness, your time, your grief, your intimacy. You're investing everything that you give is an investment. 110%, because you're expecting something back from that, whether you're expecting peace or safety or security, or even if you're just expecting for everything to just stay the same. If you're just looking for some type of normalcy in your life, you're making investments into that with your routine, with your schedule, and with your to-do list, or whatever that may be. So you really want to be specific with those investments and make sure you can take pride in how much effort and work you're putting into getting where you want to be. Next, what has been influencing your shadow versus your light? What are you doing about these influences? So this is a chance to kind of re-look at your shadow and get a good look at your light energy as well. We're made up of a higher self and a shadow. So your higher self is essentially all of the good. Your shadow is essentially all of the bad. We're not going to get into all that because that's a separate video and a separate conversation. But you guys know your shadow is a place where all of your fears lie, your addictions, the anger, the rage, the frustration, the jealousy, the insecurity, the doubt. All of that lies in your shadow. Whereas your light energy is the source of your intuition, your gifts, your abilities, your vision, your dream, your creativity, your imagination, the thing that pulls you and magnetizes you to other beings in the world, So what in your life is influencing your shadow? Is it what you're looking at on social media? Is it the friends that you have in your life? What is influencing your shadow? What is influencing your shadow? And also, what is influencing your highest self? What is pouring into your shadow versus what's pouring into your higher self? And what are you doing about these influences? Are you making sure you have more influences for your higher self or more for your shadow? Are you even really doing anything about it? Are you not even really paying attention to it? How can you be more mindful? How can you know when something's benefiting your shadow or benefiting your higher self? So I really think that's a really good question to ask. And I think this is a good experiment, something to look at long term. I think all of these questions can be turned into long-term experiments, but every day asking yourself, is this my shadow or is this my higher self? Is this making my shadow come out or making my higher self come out? Is this making me want to be better or is this making me want to kind of lean into the darkness a little bit? What am I getting? What am I feeling? What is, pouring into me from the spaces that I'm in and what I'm stepping into and what I am involved in and with? This is so key because everything that we have in this life is influencing us, either good or bad. It's all influencing us 110%. So this is a really good opportunity to just ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling? What am I picking up on? What's influencing me? What's affecting me? Is it affecting the good side or the bad side? And what am I going to do about it? And good and bad, light and dark, high vibrational, low vibrational, however you want to think about it, it's all you. So this by no means is for you to say, oh, if you're, benefiting my shadow, you're evil, because there's a part of you that might be evil too then, so you don't want to say that about yourself because we all have parts of ourselves. Every human, besides Jesus, every person that's been on earth has had a part of them that was evil, that was dark, and even Jesus had moments of, Lord, do I really have to do this? Like, Lord, have you forsaken me? Like, is this really what I have to do? Like, I don't know if I want to go down this path. I'm afraid. Like, is this really what I need to step into? So the human part of us will always be in a space of like, oh my God, is my shadow going to win this time? That's a normal thing to feel. But it's so important to know what's making you doubt. What's making you second guess? What's making you have that fear? Is it because you know the pain that you're about to go through? Is it because you know what happens when you say, you know what, I'm going to get these people away from me? Is it because you know that if you answer this calling, it means you have to cut everybody off? Figure out what's influencing your light and your shadow and figure out what are you doing about it. Next, if you base your abilities of faith off of what you've done this year, how would they measure up? Okay, so this question is basically saying, if you've just looked at what you've done since the beginning of 2024, if you've looked at how you've used your intuition, if you looked at how you've used your discernment and your prayer and all of the gifts, your manifestation, everything God has given you, how have you used your gifts? How has your faith played a role in where you are right now? Would you say that you have a lot of faith or a little bit of faith based on this year? Would you say that you have a lot of gifts or not that many gifts based on what you've been doing this year? This is a good time for you to recognize if you are walking in your faith, if you're walking in your gifts, if you're walking in your God-given power, talent, energy, mindset every single day, every single month, every year, or if this is something you pick up and put down when you're doing really good or when you're feeling really strong in life. So this is a great opportunity to look within. It's a great opportunity to just ask yourself, okay, what have I been doing? How have I been putting my, gifts to use outside of what the world has given me? How am I using what God has given me specifically? How am I using that to move forward, to step into different things, and to continuously grow? It is so key to be able to look within and recognize what's affecting you, how it's affecting you, and how everything in your life is essentially, all pouring into you, stepping into who you need to be, helping you evolve more and more, helping you grow more and more as well. So that is definitely something to be mindful of. Just based off of this year, how would you rate your abilities? How would you rate your faith? How would you feel you've been measuring up? This is a great time for you to just track, what's been working for you, what hasn't been working for you, and if you've been trying hard enough, if you've been connecting enough. So yes, abilities and faith, base it off of what you've done this year, how would it measure up? And the last question, this is a really good one. The last question. If your circumstances stayed the same for another year, how would you feel? If your life stayed exactly as it is right now for another year, how would you feel? How would you feel? And the reason I thought this was such a good question is because of a few things. The first thing is, if you would hate for your life to stay the same for another year, what have you done to change the current situation that you're in? And also, how long have you been here? Have you been here a year already? Because if you already been here for a year, then what's another year? What's another year? Because if you didn't want to be here, then maybe you wouldn't be here. If you didn't want to be where you are, then why are you where you are? Why is it so bad to think about being in this space for another year when you maybe have already been there for 3 or 4 years? That's a really good point to kind of ask yourself, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? It's also a good time to ask yourself about your ego. Because if your ego said, I damn sure ain't about to be here for another year, well, what have you been doing to make sure of it? What have you been doing to make sure of it? Do you already feel like you're not even in the same space anymore, even though you are? Do you already feel like you've excelled? Do you already feel like I'm definitely there's no way I'll be in the same space? There's no way. Do you already feel like that? Have you been able to bring happiness and peace to your current situation, even though it's your current situation? Or do you feel like you have to move out of this current situation and get what you need? How do you feel your current circumstances are holding you back? Do you feel like in a year you would have, maybe learned more? Do you feel like in a year you would have maybe resented the people that you're still in these circumstances with? If you keep the friends and the partner and the job, do you think in a year you'll be the bitter? Do you think you'll, resent everybody? Do you think you'll be aggravated with everybody? How will you feel if nothing changes? If nothing changes, how will you feel? I think this is also a way to just kind of condition ourselves to face the facts, because we don't know where we're going to be next year. Even if we're going to be here, honey, we don't know. If the Lord say the same, we do not know where we're going to be. So I think it's important to just ask yourself okay, would I be happy being here in a year? And if I wouldn't at all, then what am I doing to make something change? What am I doing to do something different? How dedicated am I that I'm not here? Are my actions showing that I don't want to be here? I'm saying, no, I'm not going to be here. But are my actions reflecting that? Because if they aren't, then we're just doing a whole bunch of talking for nothing. We're wasting our breath for nothing. We need to get to work. We need to get in the field. You know what I'm saying? It's really a time for you to even look at your current circumstances and be like, dang, am I happy here? Because if you're really happy there, you shouldn't mind being there for another year if you're really comfortable. Maybe some of us have said, oh, I'm comfortable here. This is fine. I'm good with this. But would you be there in another year? Or are you just good for something right now? And if something isn't good enough for you right now, or if it's not good enough for the future version of you, is it good enough for you right now? Because a lot of us say, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this until this time. Or I'm just going to keep doing this until this time. Why? If it's not good enough for who you're going to be in the future, then why should it be good enough for you today? Why should you settle for less just because maybe you haven't learned enough or grown enough or lived enough? Why? Why should you settle for less right now? Something to think about, right? Right. So yes, guys, again, if your circumstances stay the same for another year, how would you feel? So guys, yes, those were the journal prompts to make you think, to change your mindset. I think these journal prompts are really, really great. Let me know how you guys are going to be using these in your everyday routine. I definitely want you guys to tap in. I definitely want y'all to tap into the journal prompts and let me know how you guys feel about them. I think it would be great to focus on each one of these journal prompts maybe for a week, some of these maybe even for a month. Give yourself some time to really reflect on these different questions. I think it's going to bring a lot of great things to your mind that's going to give you some insights, because like I said, I always feel like what I do in readings, you don't need anybody to pray for you. You don't need anybody to go to God for you. You don't need anybody to do that. Most of what I do is really confirm things that God has already been telling you. God has been telling you this, but once you see me pull it from cards and I don't know you, now you believe it. But we should be able to believe what God tells us the first time. We should be able to get that confirmation for ourselves. So that is my goal with these journal prompts, for you guys to really look within and figure out what you need to step into. Really look within and ask the right questions. So yes, guys, if you love these journal prompts, if some of these were making you think of something already while you were watching the video, let me know down below in the comment section. Also, you can book sessions with me, tap in, follow Faded Counsel on Instagram, get into the new book that we're going to be reading very, very soon. But I appreciate you guys. I thank you guys for being here. I love y'all. Remember, you can always book private sessions with me and get into it. Releasing sessions, the solo tarot course, mentorships, business sessions, whatever you need, honey. Get into it down below at the website in the description box. I appreciate y'all. I thank you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Bless.